Black Friday this year, 2022, was a complete and utter failure. There was nobody out on the roads. The stores were empty. The mall parking lots were empty. I didn't see nearly as many commercials hyping up Black Friday as I normally do. And even just seeing people in my own life, friends, family members, colleagues, there just didn't seem to be the same excitement about Black Friday that we've seen in years past. But if you look at the news articles and the media articles, and if you hear from retailers and retail organizations, you would think that this was the biggest, largest, greatest Black Friday sale of all time. And they're actually telling us that this was the largest Black Friday ever. Sales numbers were larger than ever, and Black Friday has grown another 2%. The media and retail organizations kind of play some dirty tricks in terms of how they report this. So we're going to break down why this Black Friday was such a failure. We're going to talk about what I've actually seen anecdotally just in my area, as well as, I operate in the e-commerce space. I have my own e-commerce store. I also run e-commerce stores for a number of clients. And I've seen things there that made me think that Black Friday this year was kind of a failure as well. So we're going to be talking about all that. We'll also go into a little bit of the history of Black Friday and Cyber Monday as well. I think the thing that really kind of highlighted what a failure Black Friday was this year. I have an aunt who's normally a big bargain shopper. She always goes out shopping on Black Friday, and she didn't do as much shopping as she normally does, but she and my cousin had to go to a couple stores. So they went out to a couple stores, and my aunt actually used the word creepy. She said it was actually creepy and weird how empty stores were. And I think one of the first stores they went to in the morning was Menards. And my aunt and my cousin went to Menards, I think maybe, 10:45, 11 in the morning on Black Friday. And I guess my aunt was talking to the cashier and said, it seems pretty dead in here. Like, have you guys been busy? Did you have a rush earlier this morning? And I guess the cashier told her that they made me come in here at 3:45 this morning, expecting a huge rush of people. And she said our first customer didn't walk in the store until 10:30. Normally on Black Friday at 3 in the morning, you got dozens, if not hundreds of people lined up out in front of stores. We've also seen a number of videos. Normally, Best Buy is a store where you have like throngs of people waiting at the doors. And as soon as they open a door, everybody's like trampling the employees, trying to get in and running to get a TV. I saw a news clip of somebody of a Best Buy store opening their doors, and you see the employees like inside, like getting ready to open a door, and you're expecting like throngs of people, like something out of like zombies and Walking Dead, to be standing outside the door ready to charge in. And they open the door, and there's literally one guy standing out there, and he just kind of casually walks into the store past the employees. But you didn't see these throngs of people standing out front waiting to go into the stores. So I'm just going to share with you guys first, like a little bit of kind of my anecdotal experience of Black Friday. So, on Thanksgiving, I have a number of family members and friends who are big Black Friday shoppers. One of my girlfriend's cousins normally doesn't come to Thanksgiving. She's running around getting bargains all day. She's standing outside some store at 3 in the morning on Thanksgiving Day and then shopping all day Thanksgiving. Personally, I think that's pretty stupid. I think it's kind of just bad for society that people are willing to give up time with friends and family to go stand in line at Bed Bath & Beyond and save $6 on a toaster. But nonetheless, one of my girlfriend's cousins has always been like that, and she would always go out on Black Friday as well. And she was not excited about it. She was not talking about deals, and she did not go out and do her Black Friday shopping. And just overall, I didn't hear people like, oh, I want to get that 50-inch TV from Walmart. I want to get that 50-inch TV from Best Buy. Didn't hear any of that excitement. I'm an e-commerce myself. I normally start my Black Friday sales the Monday leading into Thanksgiving, and on Thanksgiving evening, my sales were about $10,000 behind where they were previous years. I did get a rush in the hours after Thanksgiving, and it kind of equaled where I was at last year. Black Friday was a little bit lackluster. Most of my clients' stores are either doing about the same as they were last year, or 20 to 30% worse than they did last year. One thing I should mention about my store, this past year, I've put a big focus on building up my email list, building up my list of SMS subscribers, or people I can text message market to, people who've opted in to receive text messages, and also people who get push notifications from me. And I've pretty much doubled the size of all these lists in the past year. I think last year, around Black Friday, I had about 8,600 SMS subscribers. This year I have about 16,800. My email list is up to about 65,000 people. Last year I was at about 34,000 people. And my push notification list went from about 8,000 people up to about 17,000 people. So I have about double the amount of people who've opted into marketing messages that I can market to. And I was barely able to keep sales even with where they were last year. So imagine if I hadn't grown these lists, my sales potentially would have been about half of what they actually were. So that's one thing that I noticed. On Black Friday, I wound up going out to the gym in the morning, and I just noticed, like, you know, I actually remember saying to myself, like, wow, like the roads are fucking dead. Like it literally reminded me of lockdowns in 2020 where nobody was out on the road. On my way to the gym, again, I drive by a Walmart, a Target, a Best Buy, and a Costco, and the parking lot seemed empty. Later in the day, I happened to drive by a popular little shopping strip that's got like a Nike store, Nordstrom Rack, a number of other popular stores. They weren't completely dead, but the parking lots weren't full. And sometimes just on a normal Saturday, the parking lots are full. So that was kind of surprising as well. And then kind of going back to my experience in e-commerce, a couple of my competitors in my kind of category, in my e-commerce niche, didn't even bother running Black Friday sales. That's like unheard of for a company to not run a Black Friday sale. And even among some of the client stores that I run, a number of their competitors did not even bother to run Black Friday sales, which is just absolutely crazy. So let's talk about, you know, why is there this narrative that this is the greatest Black Friday ever? Like, where is this coming from, and what motivation does the media or retailers or corporations or retail organizations, what incentive do they have to lie and tell us that this is the greatest Black Friday of all time? Well, a couple things. First off, most people are sheep and most people follow the herd. So if people hear everybody's buying a ton of stuff, this is the biggest Black Friday ever, there's some of the greatest deals out there, people are going to do what other people do. So if you hear other people are shopping, you're more likely to shop yourself. People also get FOMO, or they worry that, oh, wow, you know, people are buying stuff. I better go buy that toy that my grandson or my niece or my nephew or my kid wants. Otherwise, it might be sold out and I might not be able to get it. So part of the reason is because if they tell you other people are spending, you're going to spend. If you start hearing that other people are cutting back, people are worried about their budgets, inflation has really cut into people's disposable income. If you start hearing things like that, your attitude's going to be like, oh shit, other people are cutting back. Other people are worried about money. Maybe I should be worried about money too. And you may not wind up spending nearly as much money. So why does the media have like a vested interest in making sure you spend? Well, first off, there's a lot of crossover between people who own various corporations and stores and who owns newspapers. A lot of the CEOs of a lot of these companies you shop with, their CEOs are on the boards of these various newspapers and media publications. Also, we all know that traditional media is dying, and even online media, things like BuzzFeed, things like the Huffington Post, things like Vice. These organizations are all laying off tons of people. They're not making any money. Traditional media is dying off. And one thing that's really changed with traditional media, newspapers, and online publications is where they used to make a lot of their money from advertising. Now a lot of the money they make is through affiliate marketing and affiliate relationships. And that's why you oftentimes see these articles on BuzzFeed or Huffington Post or wherever else, like the 5 best laptops under $600, the 5 best backpacks for back to school. These aren't the best backpacks and there aren't the best laptops. What these are actually advertisements. These aren't articles. These aren't educational pieces. These aren't trying to give you information to make good purchases. What these articles basically are that media organization happens to have an affiliate relationship with whoever makes those products. So the 5 best laptops are basically the 5 laptops that they can get a kickback on if you buy. Those 5 backpacks are backpacks that they're going to get a kickback from if you purchase. So just do a Google search today for Black Friday and you're going to see hundreds of articles like the 74 best Black Friday deals on Amazon, or these 12 retailers have the best Black Friday deals. If you wind up reading this article, clicking through to see the 74 best Amazon deals, and you wind up clicking something, they're part of the Amazon Associates program. And big publications actually probably get better affiliate terms than you or I get. So instead of getting 2% or 4% of a sale, maybe they may be getting 8%, 10%, 12% per sale. But they're getting affiliate kickbacks for the content they create. And that's why they want you out shopping as well. Now, let's talk a little bit about how they're kind of lying to you about these numbers. So one of the first things that they oftentimes do when they're reporting Black Friday sales that are bad and trying to make it look good, every year, the percentage, we can look at Black Friday as a pool where it's a combination of people buying in brick and mortar stores and people buying online or through e-commerce. Traditionally, year over year over year, the percentage of people who shop online versus in-store continues to grow, right? People get more comfortable with online shopping. The technology gets bigger and better. Companies put more effort into their online sales. And also, as more old people die off, there's less brick and mortar shoppers. And as young people who grew up with the internet age into adulthood and the ages where they actually have some money to spend, they're more likely to be online shoppers. So year over year over year, the percentage of people who shop online grows, and the percentage and the amount of online sales grows. So even if overall Black Friday sales are down, they'll tell you Black Friday sales are better than ever, but they're referring to the online portion or the e-commerce portion of Black Friday sales. Here's another way that they kind of trick you. So they talk about nominal sales or nominal revenue as opposed to real sales or real revenue. And let's kind of break this down. So the Fed and the government tells us that inflation is at 9%, right? In reality, most of us know that it's probably between 20 and 50%. We'll just say 30%. But let's say if last year there's a store that sells sweaters, and this store that sells sweaters had 10 customers come in, and those 10 customers bought 10 sweaters. We're just going to do this for simple numbers, right? Their sweaters cost them $5. They sell the sweaters for $10. So last year they sold 10 sweaters to 10 different people, and they made $100. Well, this year, due to inflation, they got to charge $20 for sweaters. So if they had those same 10 customers come in, those same 10 customers each bought 10 sweaters, but now the sweaters cost $20, they're going to bring in $200 in sales as opposed to $100 in sales. Same amount of customers, same amount of sales, same amount of items purchased, but sales look like they've essentially doubled. Well, now let's say that maybe this year they only had 7 people come in, and those 7 people bought 7 sweaters at $20 a pop. So we got 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120, 140. So, if they had 7 customers come in, they brought $140 in sales in this year compared to $100 last year. They might say, wow, sales are up 40% over where they were last year. Well, they actually lost 3 customers since last year. They actually sold 3 less items. It's just because inflation is bad and everything's costing more that they're actually bringing in more money, but their business actually isn't growing. They don't have more customers. They're not selling more goods. It's just that inflation is causing their sales numbers to kind of artificially look higher. So when you hear the media say that Black Friday this year is 2% bigger than last year or 2% bigger than the largest Black Friday sale we've ever had, you actually have to look at it like a 7% loss, right? Because inflation, and that's if we're going by the government numbers, inflation is at 9%. Subtract 2 from 9, that gives us 7. Well, sales are actually 7% smaller than they were last year. If you actually, say, okay, let's say inflation's 30%, and Black Friday sales this year were 2% larger than ever. Well, 30 minus 2 is 28. You could actually look at it that way and say sales are down 28% over where they were last year. Let's just kind of talk a little bit about the entire holiday shopping season and kind of other indicators that we have. That the economy is not doing so well, that retail is not doing so well. At the end of summer and at the end of spring, we knew that retailers like Target, Walmart, Best Buy, as well as companies like Nike and Under Armour, none of these companies were able to move through all of their summer stock. So they're still sitting on hundreds of millions of dollars worth of inventory from the previous season that they weren't able to get rid of. I saw another article the other day in Indonesia. There's warehouses and factories backing up with clothing because U.S. retailers aren't taking any more of this stuff because they already have too much stuff sitting in their warehouses and they already have too much money tied up in inventory. I've talked about this in a couple previous videos. But FedEx is actually furloughing drivers this year. Normally this time of year, FedEx, UPS, USPS are telling us they're not going to be able to deliver all the packages in time. There's too many packages. There's not enough drivers. There's not enough trucks. But this year, there's so little stuff to move that FedEx is actually sending drivers home. So things are not looking good. In a second here, we're going to take a look at an article from Zero Hedge titled "The Consumer Economy Has Collapsed. It's a Ghost Town for Holiday Shopping Everywhere." But before we get into that, we'll kind of wrap a little bit more. On Black Friday evening, my girlfriend and a buddy of mine was over, and they wanted to go get some ramen. And so they picked some ramen place that it's not in the mall, but it's in like the same parking lot or the same circle as the mall. And we were about halfway there, and I was like, "Oh shit, guys, it's Black Friday. Like, you think we should go somewhere else? You think we should avoid the mall? Like, it might be a madhouse there. We're not going into the mall, but just getting into the parking lot may be a hassle." Well, they decide let's go there anyways. We pull up, the mall parking lot is empty at like 7:00 at night. More empty than even just a regular day. So that was kind of strange. One other thing that I've heard and kind of makes sense, the people who are struggling the most in this economy are low-income people and lower middle class or regular middle class people. The people who are still thriving in this economy are the elites, the 1%, and upper middle class people or well-to-do people. So the people who would traditionally shop at stores like Walmart and Target and Best Buy and Bed Bath & Beyond and Kohl's, these people don't have any money to spend. Inflation has eaten away at their disposable income, and the people who would normally be shopping at these stores don't have money to shop. The only people who really still have money left are wealthy people and people who consume luxury goods. So you might wind up seeing that people bought a new fishing boat this year for Christmas. People bought a new Coach purse. People bought a new Louis Vuitton purse. Those people, the buyers of luxury goods, still have some money to spend. But the people who are going to Target or Walmart to buy some off-brand 50-inch TV for $128, those people don't have money to spend, and that's why we're seeing the Black Friday sales be so abysmal. I actually had to walk into a Walmart on Black Friday. I lost a pair of my headphones at the gym, so I was just popping in to get headphones, and my plan was I'm going to drive by and see how bad the crowds are. And if the crowds are really bad, I'll just get my headphones another day or order them off Amazon or something like that. I pull up, Walmart's parking lot was absolutely dead. So I walk in. Not only was the store dead, but, normally in preparation for Black Friday, when you walk in the front door, there's all their deal busters, all their door busters are lined up like floor to ceiling. They got flashy signs, 50% off, BOGO, biggest sale ever. And I really didn't see all that stuff. There was literally like one little corridor of some like air fryers and maybe a Nutra Ninja or something like that. But it wasn't like they were hyped up, really ready for Black Friday. A buddy of mine had sent me a couple pictures from a Best Buy store, and there they had like a shitload of TVs. You could tell they had really prepared for the day. But he had talked to one of the employees at Best Buy, and the guy was like, we've moved through maybe like 20% of our TVs. It's just not as crazy as it's been in years past. Before we get into this article, this is probably going to be a long video. Before we get into this article, a couple other just kind of interesting things that aren't super related to the story, but I thought might be interesting. Let's talk a little bit about the history of Black Friday. So Black Friday first started appearing in the media around sometime in the 1950s. I think somewhere between like 1953 and 1956. Black Friday initially was not a holiday shopping day. Basically, what Black Friday was in the early days was there was some town. Most of the people in this town worked at a factory in the town. And what they had noticed that everybody would call off of work the day after Thanksgiving in order to give themselves a 4-day weekend, right? Because you got Thanksgiving, if you got the day off for Thanksgiving, then normally you would have to go in the next day, work for Friday, and then you're off for the weekend. Well, if you call off work for Black Friday, now you have a 4-day weekend, right? Because you're off Thursday, you called off work Friday, and then you got the weekend. And so I guess that was a really common thing for people in this town to do. It was not a shopping holiday. A lot of people have travelers in town or guests in town for the holiday. It might be a day that you can hang out with your family members who are in town staying with you. A lot of people on Black Friday would put up the Christmas tree or hang up their outdoor holiday lights. And this is what Black Friday started out as. Well, retailers obviously realize you got a bunch of people off work with nothing to do. This is kind of the kickoff to the holiday season. Let's market this and turn it into a shopping day. And that's how a lot of these fake shopping days come about, right? Like Amazon Prime, it's not like July 12th is some special day. Normally the summertime is a slow time for retail and especially a slow time for e-commerce. So Amazon was like, "Hey, let's drum up this fake little holiday. We'll encourage all of our sellers to run sales. We'll run sales on all of our items, and we'll turn this into some big shopping day and bring in some extra revenue at a time when normally nobody is buying." And so that's basically what started Amazon Prime. Well, this year they ran 2 Amazon Prime sales, so you can tell that Amazon Prime is kind of losing its luster. And maybe that's part of the reason why Black Friday is losing its luster, right? Black Friday and Cyber Monday used to be 2 particular days where there were big sales. There were 2 days people would focus on, 2 days retailers would focus on, and there was something special about it. Well, shit, man, I was getting Black Friday sales emails, early Black Friday access, literally like the last week of October. So Black Friday is no longer a one-day thing. It's literally turned into like a 3-month event. And I think because of that, it's kind of lost some of its novelty and it's lost some of its luster. Kind of getting back to that's kind of how Black Friday started, as retailers realized a lot of people are home with nothing to do. Let's turn this into a shopping holiday. Cyber Monday came about kind of the same way. In 2005, e-commerce and online shopping was kind of picking up, not nearly what it is today, not nearly as many people shopped online. Even the technology wasn't there to make it the same experience that it was today. But online shopping was becoming a thing. So there was a retail organization who said, hey, let's get all these different retailers together. We'll encourage everybody to run sales on the same day, and we'll kind of turn this into, kind of like Valentine's Day or Sweetest Day, like these fake holidays created by companies to bring in revenue. They said, we're going to turn Cyber Monday into like the, Black Friday's sister day. It's going to be the online shopping day, and that's kind of how Cyber Monday came about. I saw Walmart was actually starting their Cyber Monday deals last night at 7 o'clock. And one thing that I think you're going to see, I think companies are going to be alarmed at not only how much inventory they're already sitting on, but how bad Black Friday sales were. And I think a lot of companies are going to up their Cyber Monday sales. And even I think the weeks leading up until Christmas, companies are going to want to dump a lot of their inventory. So I think you're going to see a lot of great deals coming about. But I think people either just don't have the desire to buy these things, or people just don't have the money to buy them. I've kind of touched on this a little bit in this video, but what is the reason that this Black Friday is so bad? I think part of it is inflation, definitely. I think part of it is maybe Black Friday losing some of its luster. It's no longer one special day. It's a 3-month thing. But also another thing, during COVID, I think our priorities changed, right? People got a taste of freedom. People got a taste of having more autonomy, more control over their lives, got to spend more time with family, got to travel more. And I think a lot of people looked at their lives and said, maybe if I stopped spending so much money on bullshit, maybe if I stopped eating out at restaurants so much, maybe if I stopped ordering Grubhub and Uber Eats so much, if I stopped spending so much money on these stupid things, I wouldn't have to work as much, and I would have more time to spend with my family and more freedom. And I think people's priorities maybe got a little bit more in order. And because of that, I think maybe a lot of the consumerism that we see around Black Friday, where people are buying stupid shit they don't need just because it's on sale, I think some of that may have gone away, and people realize I don't necessarily need all the bullshit. I would rather spend less money, have to work less, and have a little bit more control over my life and over my time. Let's hop into this article from Zero Hedge. This one's titled, I had one other Black Friday memory I was going to share with you guys. So, before online shopping was a thing, when I was a little kid, I grew up on the south side of Chicago. My grandparents lived on the south side, and every year on Thanksgiving, me and all my cousins would go over to my grandma's house for Thanksgiving. On Thanksgiving evening, our parents would all leave us over there. Me and my cousins would all have a sleepover at my grandparents' house. And the following day on Black Friday, my grandparents would put us all on a train, and we'd go downtown Chicago. Now, Chicago, you got all the Christmas decorations up, all the lights up. This is back when Marshall Fields was a thing. I'm not sure if you guys had Marshall Fields outside of the Midwest or outside of Chicago, but Marshall Fields was a very iconic Chicago store. On Black Friday, they put up a big Christmas tree. It was just an iconic store. They had these gas lanterns out front that are very iconic. Whenever you see Marshall Fields on a coffee mug or something like that, it's always kind of that image. They put up a giant Christmas tree. They put up elaborate window displays, and people go do window shopping. And my grandparents would take us down there. We'd go to the Sears Tower. We'd walk around. We'd window shop at Marshall Fields. We'd look at the tree. And at the end of the day, they'd take us for pizza, and then they'd take us home after that. And that's when Black Friday was still kind of a special day, when it was still kind of a big deal, and before it had been kind of watered down. But let's hop into this article from Zero Hedge. The consumer economy has completely collapsed, It's a ghost town for holiday shopping everywhere. And the article starts off saying, crowds, I see nothing. I'm surprised, retail worker Jeremy Pritchett told Fox 2. Normally it's wrapped all the way around the building. Today, no one. That's a typical ground report from areas all over the country. No one, literally almost no one, is doing any holiday shopping, and the traditional Black Friday rush to get deals and discounts just didn't happen. Financial media are scratching their puzzlers, perplexed with furrowed brows. Sorry, I lost my place and lost my cursor. Interestingly, almost every financial media outlet is using the same Retail Federation talking point about anticipating an 8% increase in holiday sales this year. Apparently, pretenses must be maintained. Meanwhile, news crews and camera crews are having a desperate time finding any holiday shopping to use as background footage or B-roll for claims that the sales are strong. Look over there. There's a person buying something. Oh, wait. No, it's just an employee dusting an empty cash register. At a certain point, one would have to believe reality would run headfirst into the mass delusional pretending. Maybe this holiday season will be it. Maybe not. According to Reuters, about 166 million people were planning to shop from Thursday, Thanksgiving's holiday, through this coming Cyber Monday, according to the National Retail Federation. Almost 8 million more than last year, but with sporadic rain in some parts of the country, stores were less busy than usual on Black Friday. So, they're admitting that sales are down, but they're blaming it on the rain as opposed to blaming it on inflation or just the fact that people just don't really give a shit about Black Friday anymore. Usually at this time of year, you struggle to find parking. This year, I haven't had an issue getting a parking spot, said Marshall Cohen, Chief Industry Advisor at the NPD Group, Inc. And here, you guys can't see this, but there's a tweet from a guy named Steve Ingman. If you guys want to look at his Twitter profile, it's Steve Inman, Inman, UIC. And he says, Black Friday has gotten out of control. And he posts a video of one guy standing outside of a Best Buy store. And as the employees open a door, you're expecting to see like throngs of people rushing in, and there's just one guy out there by himself who casually walks in. It's a lot of social shopping. Everybody is looking to get what they need, but there's no sense of urgency, Cohen added, based on his store checks in New York, New Jersey, Maryland, and Virginia. At the American Dream Mall in East Rutherford, New Jersey, there were no lines outside of stores. A Toys R Us employee was handing out flyers with a list of Black Friday doorbuster promotions. I didn't even know that Toys R Us was back around. I thought I remembered hearing that they were opening back up, but I didn't even know they were back open again. It's almost Kafkaesque to see how the media are continuing to maintain economic pretenses, yet the reality of a completely collapsed consumer economy is physically staring them in the face. Activity light at one San Francisco mall at 4:40 p.m. At the Stonestown Mall in San Francisco, shoppers were few and far between. The Target and Zara stores were mostly empty, and there was no line for the mall Santa Claus. Uniqlo and Apple were the busiest locations, but they still weren't crowded. Crowds were thin in the late morning at the Stamford Town Center Mall. K Jeweler, empty. Savina, empty. Only a couple people waited at the checkout line at Forever 21, and just a few were in line to purchase at Barnes & Noble. At a Target store on Chicago's north side, the parking lot was barely half full at about 9 a.m. Local time shoppers were greeted with $3 ornaments and discounted Christmas trees when entering, and the store seemed calm and quiet. And Macy's in Sanford, Connecticut was neat and orderly, maybe too neat and orderly on a day associated with shopping chaos. The furniture section was nearly deserted, though there were more shoppers looking at shoes. So looks like that is the end of the article. But I would love to hear your guys' thoughts, comments, opinions. If you guys run an e-commerce store, what have sales been like this year? If you guys work in retail, what have you seen in the stores that you guys work at? Do you have friends and family, maybe an aunt or a cousin who's normally a big Black Friday shopper? Did they go out shopping this year? Were they excited about deals? Have you been seeing as many commercials? If you guys went out and did some shopping on your own, what was it like? Were the stores empty? Were people out in force? Would love to hear from you guys. And what do you guys think the reason for this lackluster Black Friday was? Is it inflation? Is it that we're a little bit less consumeristic and people's priorities have kind of changed? Has Black Friday lost its luster? Is this the end of an exciting Black Friday and Cyber Monday? I'd love to hear what you guys have to say, so go ahead and drop a comment down below. If you're not subscribed to the channel, click that subscribe button down below and ring the bell. And if you enjoyed today's video, do me a favor and give this video a thumbs up. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video.